made it to the Saab shop here. Bootin', Greco Bros. Shout out to Mike. He's the best. He's got all these wonderful Saabs here he's working on. This looks like he's got another parts car. See, I would save that thing, but Mike's in a different biz. Alright guys, so we're heading over to Greco Brothers Saab in Bootin, New Jersey. If you guys are not from my area, or if you are from my area, he is awesome. So anyways, yesterday I spent some time going through some more relays under the dashboard, and I didn't find anything wrong with the relays on the Saab. So after talking with Mike and doing some more research, it turns out that it could be the dice unit that is bad, which sits underneath the dashboard behind the steering wheel over there. It's like another part of the T7 suite computer system. And so after further review and further investigation, there's some other electronics not working in the car. We have a failure of lights, which is happening on the daytime running lights and the nighttime running lights. And we're also, we don't have blinker lights, windshield wiper power, and we also don't have window power. So all of this stuff is pointing right back to the dice unit that controls these different components in the front of the car there. And it would make sense that if the wire shorted the system and it didn't blow a fuse, it didn't blow a relay, and I didn't see any frayed wires, which means we didn't blow through a wire. That means all that ampage probably went to the dice, and so yeah, we're gonna have to replace the dice unit and further investigate what's going on. Now I'm driving behind the Saab and the windshield wipers just worked. I just saw my mom, who's driving the car, turn the windshield wipers on, and they worked. And when that turned on, the lights also turned on, as you can see. So you guys just saw it live here. The lights were off 2 seconds ago. Windshield wipers are working sometimes, not all the time. So again, it's all pointing directly to a it's pointing directly again to a computer device that is semi-working and semi-not working. I don't think it's a wire, and I don't think it's a relay, because if it was, then there would be nothing at all, period. It would be completely shot. So just my synopsis, just from driving literally live with you now. So that's an update. So we're gonna drop it off. I don't have an extra dice, but I know Mike does, and I don't have a Tech 2 to program that to the car. That would work, because I lost a component to my Tech 2, so I gotta figure that part out. I don't know what happened there. Anyways, so that's the update so far. So I will hopefully have an update for you in this video later today, or maybe tomorrow. We'll pick up the car complete and have this thing back on the road. Then the next thing we got to do is fix the front bumper, which I was thinking about just removing and resanding and repolishing and repainting and just doing it nice. And then from there, we got to do the water pump. So these are just the upcoming things on the Saab. Let's rock it out. Almost 230,000 miles. And this thing really runs really good, besides for some of these little quirks that we're running into. This electronic wire issue was a wire that disconnected somehow from my tape job last year when I did the radio. I usually soldered, I think I soldered all the wires. Maybe I just didn't solder this wire and taped it, and the tape came off or something. I don't remember what happened exactly. Kind of odd, but it happened, and my fault really, not the car's. So I'll take the blame. Anyways, stay tuned. And look at that, the blinker lights are working now. I guarantee you, if I go in front of the car, let's go in front of the car here and see if the headlights are working. It's so weird. Yesterday it wasn't working at all. Let's see. Are the headlights working? No, they're not. No headlights. Anyways, I'm in a loaner car. My car's getting serviced with that check engine light. So if you guys haven't been following the channel, the Jaguar had a check engine light for oxygen sensors, and since it's under warranty, I figured I'd take advantage of the warranty instead of crawling underneath there. So if you're wondering why I'm in this beautifully made Range Rover, it's because I'm borrowing it. Kind of a cool car. I wouldn't buy it though. All right, everybody, it's the next day here. I got the Jaguar back, running good. Happy to be back in my own car. I didn't really care for the rental. So anyways, I got a call from Mike last night at 8:30 p.m. This guy is the true Saab doctor working on the car. And so when I stopped by in the evening, like 6, and they had fixed half of the problem, which was they swapped out the dice unit, and they were getting lights again on the daytime running lights and the parking lights. But then when you switched it to the nighttime running lights, the lights weren't working at all. They weren't working at all, which means your power, your high beam power wasn't working either. So there was so that function wasn't working. So they were trying to figure it out, tested the relays, tested some of the wires, and when I left, they haven't found the actual issue. People stopping in the middle of the highway here, guys, sorry. Don't understand sometimes. Anyways, then he called me at 8:30, spent another couple hours, and he discovered that either the ignition wire coming from the ignition into the harness or the ignition itself was bad. So they're going to further test that this morning and either rewire a fresh wire if the wire on the ignition was burnt out, or if it wasn't, they're going to replace the ignition. So that is the latest and the greatest. We should have the car back this afternoon, hopefully. So that's some good news, and it's good news that they figured it out. I don't know how much it's going to cost yet, but I'm sure it's going to be annoying either way, because this whole situation is kind of a stupid situation, but it happens. And I'm going to make sure that all of those wires are secured, and I know that he was mentioning possibly just tapping into a new fuse on the fuse board, since there's open slots. So maybe we can look into doing that too, to separate the radio from all of the rest of the wiring harness. But for the immediate time, I think I'm going to just make sure that wire in there is secured that broke off, and make sure it doesn't happen again, and then we can do some research on how to separate that from the rest of the system. So that's the latest update for you. Hopefully in the next clip of this video we have the car back, and we're back to normal. All right, everybody, we're here with Mike.
Yep.
Mike's the true Saab doctor. He spent how many hours trying to fix this? 10 hours. 10 hours, and we've replaced a new dice and a new ignition switch. $1,600, guys. Quite the mistake of a wiring issue. So make sure that if you do an aftermarket wiring, we're gonna go home now, and we're gonna tap into the spare spots on here and separate the radio from everything else. So if something like that happens again, it blows the radio or a fuse, rather than all of the things that we just had to replace. Right, Mike?
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're back up and running, thanks to Mike.
Saving Saabs one at a time.
Saving Saabs at one at a time.
Okay.
So we'll see you guys up there. All right, guys. So update on this: we tapped in to these circuits. Radio is working. So we are back in action. Crazy experience here. All right, boys, we are all set here. If you guys are gonna follow my footprint, it's probably one of the most expensive mistakes I've ever made with electronics, obviously. So make sure you solder every wire if you're gonna wire an aftermarket double DIN in. Don't know what happened there, but I was definitely soldering. But anyways, this is our ignition wire, and this is our battery wire. So if there's ever a short again on the radio, it is gonna be separated from all of the other ignition wires and components on the vehicle itself. This empty slot here is the hookup fuse for trailer. And then this spot over here that I tapped into is 33, which is your, no, it's not that one. It's 32. 32 is the ventilated front seats. And that's where our ignition wire tapped into. Obviously this car does not have the ventilated seats, so for me to tap into that is not a problem. So no ventilated seats, and we don't have any trailer. So battery, ignition, and now it's separated from everything else on the car. So pretty awesome. Finishing up this car with a nice detail with 303 protectant. You guys can see it makes the leather look brand new and shiny. And I'll link some below so you guys can buy it yourself. And it's good for keeping the old leather nice and new. As you guys can see, it looks great. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you learned something from my mistake. And if you're gonna wire an aftermarket radio in your Saab, be sure to tap into those ports like I just mentioned, and you should be really safe. I mean, I was safe to begin with, but that wire came loose and sparked the whole system. So unfortunate things happen. So stay tuned for the next video, guys. We got some more repair work to do on this car. We got the water pump coming up, rear brakes, which I might not film because that's pretty basic, and we're gonna we gotta repair the front bumper since that was damaged over the last couple months. So anyways, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me at Pancis on Instagram. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me there, and I'll see you guys next time.